Let's review the two readings we've done as we're working on our comparing, contrasting in our writing about the civil rights in Iran and the perspectives of young women. So we've read Reading the Letter in Tehran, an excerpt from the textbook, and then we read a couple excerpts of Persepolis, the graphic novel, but the page that we're using for our compare and contrast is mostly just the page in the textbook. And let's talk about what's similar about them from our lecture. Both of them are the same time period, looking at how life changed for women and culturally after the Iranian Revolution. When you're writing about that, make sure you capitalize Iranian Revolution of the 1979 or 1980s. And both of them are addressing women's rights and how they are having to not only wear different clothes after the revolution and conceal their hair, but they also are talking about the mood of what it's like to be possibly at all times judged. That there are, we'll say it's like police, but sometimes it's just citizens who are working for the government to report people who aren't following the rules of the dress code. Both of them are about a young adult's perspective. Now, we discussed there are some analytical contrasting characteristics that reveal a more heaviness in the mood or a different illuminated theme. Let's talk about how Persepolis is just kind of the subject and very direct. And it's got a scary, threatening aspect to it. The character is the author, and she's frowning in every page. And later on, in some of the other perspective of the excerpts I've shared, she was very bold in her protest, right? She wears her punk rock clothes, and she's buying on the black market music and tapes. So if you use that as one of your details, her protest is bold and out in the open at times, and she finds a way to lie to get out of trouble in our excerpt that we read there. But in this one, it's the protest is concealed. That they're reading that book in secret, even though the excerpt we read wasn't really about the book, it was about her walk home. That is another thing that's the same, right? This is all about a walk home. But this one discusses how there's a heaviness and an irony to, they have to conceal themselves so men aren't feeling infatuated, and to protect themselves is the idea. But the irony is what's happening to them in the minibuses, what's happening to them in the taxis. Figurative language is used in this one. The language is a little more developed because I think it's a heavier theme. And this one addresses the idea that they are concealing their identity, but their power still remains. This one addresses directly that if your clothes you wear is so scary to the government, then who are you as a person? You are powerful. And it uses rhetorical questions to develop that idea. Now, this is going to be really challenging at first to try to find a way to write about that, but I know you can do it because you understand it. You might say something like, when you're structuring your paragraph, I want you to think about using the method called whole by whole. And what are the three things that you can specifically talk about that each of these works develop the same and different? So you want to talk about similarities and differences. You could set it up that way. Or you can do, that's actually part by part. You could also set it up whole by whole, where everything you first talk about is Persepolis, and then everything you talk about is about reading the letter in Tehran. But what you want to do is you want to set up the comparisons and contrasts in the same order. Both of them are about this. However, both of them are different in this way. And then finally, they both reveal this theme, but it's slightly different. That might be a structure that works for you. So if you want to do part by part or whole by whole. Most students are doing whole by whole. You're talking about one work and three details, and then one work and three details. Last point, don't forget to add a quote to your writing. And we're working on that lead-in using a complete sentence that introduces the quote with a colon in it, and then discuss the quote after. This may mean that you have more than one paragraph, right? In fact, you could have 2 or 3 paragraphs. In the example I shared today, I'm going to do a whole by whole. My quote aspect actually will be all one paragraph. I'll have 3 paragraphs. 3 paragraphs. Persepolis, Loletta in Tehran, and then the quote from Loletta in Tehran that develops a heavy theme. Good luck in your writing. Don't overthink it. You're practicing. It's okay to need to go back and revise. Let's pay attention to those topic sentences. It's been fun reading your writing. Bye.